Leonardo da Vinci had one of the greatest minds that humanity has ever produced. Whether it's his incredible artwork from the Mona Lisa to Salvador Mundi, or his engineering blueprint for a helicopter hundreds of years before they were even invented. Or the fact that he figured out that the sun doesn't move nearly 100 years before anyone else. Simply put, this guy was an intellectual machine. And it's easy to say that he just won the genetic lottery and was a genius from birth, and while he of course was blessed with a higher natural intellect than most others, he did also lay out his 7 principles of genius, and he quite literally detailed his philosophy that he followed in order to expand his mind beyond what was previously deemed humanly possible. And he himself would even argue that he was not a genius due to genetics, but more so because he developed a genius formula to rapidly increase his IQ. And as far as I know, he is the only person to really develop a philosophy or a how-to guide to becoming a genius, and so in today's video we are going to go over his written journal where he details the 7 steps to becoming a genius. Starting with principle number 1, remember that everything is connected. Study the science of art. Study the art of science. Develop your senses, especially learn how to see. Realize that everything connects to everything else. Leonardo da Vinci believed that his most important discovery was that everything in this world is connected. Even the things that seem to have no possible relationship to each other are connected. And he believed that if you adopt this as a fact, your curiosity and thirst for knowledge will expand drastically, because by knowing that all things are connected, you'll know that we have such a limited understanding of everything, and that there is so much more for us to uncover, and then through that understanding, you'll finally be able to see the world in its entirety. For example, there are many times in life where we believe things to be opposites to each other, rather than complementary. And if we were to actually look at how they could possibly be connected, we would be able to grow in our understanding and knowledge of that specific topic. But that requires us to drop our ego and embrace the fact that the world is so much more and so different to what we think it is. The quest for knowledge is never ending because faith, religion, life, and the solar system are so much more complex and deeper than we could ever comprehend. And so the simple act of looking for connections in the world will therefore invigorate us and give us an energy boost in order to keep searching for more connections, and to dive deeper than we could have ever possibly imagined into every topic that we find engaging and that we're interested in. Because too often today we have scientists and engineers who aren't interested in arts, and Leonardo would say that that hinders your scientific understanding, because to dive further into an artistic pursuit will only go to help your scientific pursuit, and vice versa. Which leads us to his second principle, which is to embrace endless curiosity. Because when you are given the energy boost of understanding that everything is connected, your curiosity will start to grow, and you mustn't shut this down. Because in Leonardo's opinion, we should remain like a young child and unashamedly follow our curiosity. Because that is the only way that you can ever transcend your current knowledge and figure out things that no one has ever figured out before. Because we all want to be someone who comes up with a great invention or is the greatest to ever do it in our specific field of choice, or someone who comes up with some great piece of art that no one else could have ever imagined. But you can't possibly achieve that without unashamedly following your curiosity. And so you can't worry about if others think it's a dumb question to ask or a dumb rabbit hole to go down, because if for some reason it has piqued your interest, then you should follow that string of curiosity until you can't possibly do it anymore. And you shouldn't question the curiosity or question why you're curious, you should just simply follow it. And seeing as Leonardo da Vinci was a religious man, it seems that he believed that curiosity is actually how God speaks to us, and that we each have a unique capability and have the ability to bring something new to the world that only we could bring. But the only way that we could ever end up doing that is if we listen to the voice of God, which is our curiosity. Number 3. refine your senses. In order to expand your ability to be curious, Leonardo da Vinci believed that you have to refine your senses and develop an ability to see, taste, hear, feel, and smell more deeply. Don't just scoff down food, but taste every possible taste that there is in that bite. Don't just breathe, but smell everything that's around you, whether or not that smell is good or bad, as it's only going to 1. Expand your curiosity further, and 2. Give you a deeper understanding and knowledge of our world, which is the only way that you can develop a unique perspective on the world. Because Leonardo didn't believe it was an accident that we all taste things slightly differently or see things in different shades to everyone else, but rather he believed that that is our unique perspective, and if we refine it further, then we will be able to produce work that is truly unique, inventive, and beautifully engaging. As you can think of the great writers, painters, or musicians, and their ability to feel everything more deeply and truthfully. As a writer like Hemingway can only write the way he does because he was so attuned to every sense he had. He didn't mindlessly chew, he didn't casually breathe, he experienced every moment, or at least tried to, as best as he could. And that's what gave him such a unique perspective and a unique ability to write in a way that engages us all and allows us to see and experience the world in a different way. Number 4. Mind-body care. The same way Leonardo wants us to respect our senses as much as possible, he also believed that we have to respect our bodies as well, as he believed that the only way to allow our mind to reach its full potential, we have to give it a perfect vehicle to operate, which is why he spent so much time engaging in physical exercise and actually entering different athletic style tournaments, as not only was he the greatest mind of his time, but he was also one of the top athletes throughout Europe. In fact, it was even reported that people would even stare at the way he walked because they believed it was the most gracious and perfect walk of all time, which does seem ridiculous, but think of the best athletes or the best actors of our time and how we find every move they make engaging because of its beauty and grace. When Daniel Day-Lewis picks up a glass on screen, it's still engaging because of the way that he moves and the grace that he does it with. And the same goes for watching LeBron James play basketball. The way he moves is just engaging and fascinating. And so, as Leonardo states, if you want to reach your full potential, you have to focus as much on your posture, strength, flexibility, and walk as you do on your academic pursuits or various other work pursuits. Number 5. Whole brain thinking. Art and science. Similar to how he warns us that everything is connected, he also encourages us to engage in the sciences and arts, as while we commonly think of ourselves as someone who is more into art than STEM, or someone who's more into STEM than art, the reality is that we must follow our curiosity into both, as the more we learn in a scientific pursuit, the more it will enhance our artistic ability as well, and the same goes the other way, much like how Michelangelo could only sculpt his beautiful figures because of the time he spent dissecting corpses and endlessly learning about human anatomy. That scientific pursuit made his art more transcendent and more engaging, to the point where he was even able to sculpt a specific muscle that was only figured out to exist hundreds of years later after he made the sculpture. And so, as Leonardo says, we shouldn't put a divide between the two, as we must find ways to research into both art and science, as it will only help us further. Number 6. Independent thinking. Leonardo da Vinci believed that by combining the principle of curiosity and refining your senses, you will be led in paths that maybe others haven't gone before, or come up with ideas and hypotheses that others hadn't thought of before. But rather than second guessing whether it was a valid thought or valid hypotheses, you should embrace it and share it with the world, as quite often we end up shutting down our truly great ideas simply due to the fact that they're very unique. unique. As often we get scared that because they're so different, it's just a dumb thought, but Leonardo would say that being different isn't dumb, but rather it's the only way to truly expand your mind and ability. Which leads us to the seventh and final principle of genius, which is to embrace uncertainty. As Leonardo da Vinci says that we should embrace the unknown and truly lead a life of adventure, because frankly, there is no other pursuit more worthwhile. Which pretty much sums up that final principle in one sentence, but let me know what your thoughts are over his 7 principles. Let me know what you agree with, what you possibly disagree with, and if you liked the video, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and as always, take care.